The armbar from side control is one of the most high percentage submissions you can hit, and it pairs well with all sorts of other submissions, the Americana, the butcher choke, and the gi, all sorts of other stuff. You can hit this one gi or no gi, and it's different from a lot of arm bars that folks hit. Typically, from my perspective, the most common arm bars that we see from side control are far side arm bar. This one is a near side arm bar, and our knee position is going to be what's key here, and I'll show you a couple different places where I like to put my knee. But we want our knee, instead of by the hip where we would typically have it, we're going to bring it right up to their floating rib, basically in the middle of their back. So if John's head here is and feet is here. This also works really well when our opponent has some defensive structures in and gets a little bit aggressive. Ideal side control, right? I want to have his frames cleared and just be able to smash him. And then you can take your pick of this arm, neck, mount, whatever. Unfortunately, sometimes people that you train with get good at jiu-jitsu and they bring in their frames. Now, a mistake that John can make here is he can push into me, right? Like we always want, frames should be like window frames, right? We don't push in. So if he extends his arms, I can just catch. In the gi, I can grab the gi. No gi, I'll just reach here. It's fine either way, right? Let's go back and just put in the frames. So in the gi, like the only thing that's different gi and no gi, go ahead and put this one in too, is that like there are no gi groups required for this. If you have the gi, it's okay to use it, but it's not necessary. Often when I'm setting this up, I'll get the lapel here just because I like to keep myself nice and tight to them, and it encourages them to push into me a little bit. And when they do that, this arm just catches. I'm trying to get my elbow pit against his wrist. Now, my knee is going to go up to his floating rib, which you'll see when I do it from a different angle on the far side. My knee stays on the mat, and I pivot so that my instep goes to his shoulder. This allows me to stay on my toes, and allows me to put my weight at about a 45-degree angle, like my line of my weight is going from his shoulder to his hip. That allows me to stay here without taking the weight off of it. Now, whether I'm in the gi or not, at this point, I transfer to here because it's going to help me fall closer to him, swing the leg over, and just sit up. And you can see already, right, that I don't have to take my near side foot out. I just pinch my knees together, very gently start to sit back, and John taps. It also, but grabbing the arm there does a couple things. For one thing, it allows me to fall closer to him, because if I fall too far away, sometimes he can drop his elbow and then escape the armbar. It also allows me to defeat his defense before he gets his defense in. So it's a good idea to grab the arm. Let's do it from this side one more time, then I'll do it from the other side. So if John stays here, right, we can attack the far side armbar. That's very common, crunch armbars, all sorts of stuff. When he starts to bring his frames in, now, a typical response, we can just go to Keisagatame and try to clear these frames. It's never a bad idea to defeat their defensive structures, and you should buy David Porter's DVD, Deconstructing Defense, which is awesome about how to defeat these frames. But here, we can just do an attack with the frames in. So my arm comes out from under his head, and I'm aiming my elbow pit for his wrist. In the gi, we can grab. No gi, we can just grab the shoulder. Cup the shoulder, or grab the gi. Knee comes up about to the middle of his floating rib. Knee stays on the mat, which allows me to pivot my leg. I'm aiming my instep right above his shoulder, like I'm trying to put my toe in his ear. Swing my leg over, grab and sit back. Now for all arm bars, right, you don't want your knees wide apart. So some people make the mistake here of trying to take this foot out and swing it over for the standard armbar position. That actually creates space that would allow John to escape here, right? So instead, I just keep my instep under his armpit and pinch. And then, however you like to finish. My favorite way to finish arm bars like this, people do all sorts of different grips. You always want the elbow aligned so that you can break the elbow. I like his thumb pointer to the ceiling. Me personally, I like to come to the wrist, give him a bro handshake, and take his elbow to my backside shoulder. Just pinch the knees and sit back. The reason I like to take it to the backside shoulder is if John gets his elbow here, he can start to do that hitchhiker escape, right? Which I don't like. So just a couple quick details. Stay right here. Now we're going to do it from a different angle. So, just rotate just a little so I can talk to the camera a little bit. The knee position is really what helped me with this, because I want this part of my leg to basically align right here, which is going to make my it's going to necessitate my knee coming up a little higher. So John gets his frames in, right? I'm going to catch with this arm, elbow pit against his wrist. You can also, I'll talk about setups maybe in a second. Now, if I just try to swing like this, it's going to be hard for me to get my leg over his head. So instead, my knee comes up here, and my toes are on the mat. See how my knees are right in his floating rib? Now I can just put the weight in my knee and swing like this. I grab his tricep on the far side, step the leg over, and sit back. And now, however you want, like I said, take it to the backside arm, or take his arm to my backside shoulder, and finish. One more angle. Let's go this way. So my buddy has his frames in. I am going to, and you know, like I said, in the gi, I can grab here, try to smoosh him. No gi, you can cup the shoulder. Just gonna catch. Knee comes high, swing, sit back, boom. Now, many people have, you know, there are a lot of great armbar DVDs out there. But what we don't want is we don't want the thumb to point this way, because he can hitchhike, right? And we don't want the elbow and the wrist to be against our high shoulder. It's not gonna allow him to like wiggle his elbow free, right? But now, if I just take it to my backside arm and pinch my knees, John, try and escape. You don't want to try and escape, right? So that's a good way to finish the armbar. There are a lot of good setups to this near side armbar, but I find that most people pay more attention to their far side arm than the near side arm. They get that frame on the hip and they just think they're okay. Threaten this, and at worst, they're going to think twice about putting in that defensive structure again, and at best, you'll have a really quick and high percentage attack.